Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Hi.
Dave, I am
center
back
myself
from you want to center yourself, or do you want to center yourself in the frame? Are you trying to center your chi?
In frame.
Okay. I mean, you should do both.
I guess
it's beneficial to center oneself.
It's not a bad thing.
Welcome back to the show, Dave.
Yes.
Who are we drinking today?
Cherry Obituary.
Oh, okay. So this is like post-mortem then. That's a post-mortem beverage if it's an obituary.
Yeah.
It assumes that one has already passed.
It assumes that your thirst has already been murdered.
Well, this episode is we do not have a guest. No lead to bury.
No lead to bury
this week.
Well, I guess there is a little bit of one.
Well, I guess there's a surprise on the episode, but I know what it is. You don't, and our viewers, our audience does not know what it is. Well,
I guess the lead would be what we're talking about. This.
Oh well. I mean, if they saw the title of the episode.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, so I went on a fun adventure, which we're going to talk about today. But a little bit of housekeeping, I guess, before we jump into that. It is May. It is still May by the time this airs. Happy Memorial Day, or no, I'm sorry, we don't say Happy Memorial Day. We say a respectful Memorial Day.
Yeah.
I hope everyone is appreciating their this Memorial Day as this is airing on Memorial Day here in the United States. So honoring all of those who have given their lives for our country over the many years that we've been a country. So yes, while it is the unofficial start to summer for a lot of people in retail and everything, the actual holiday is a somber one here. So may you reflect on this Memorial Day.
Reflect accordingly.
That being said, though, there are still some days left in the month of May, which means that our May giveaway is still live. This month also, being home to Star Wars week. So May the 4th and the 5th, and then Revenge of the 6th, all that good stuff, right? So you can visit us on Instagram at AIC_podcast, where you can find the pinned post. It is a Jazzwares Micro Galaxy Squadron chase variant of Luke's Red 5 X-Wing, and it's in the colorway of the original Kenner X-Wing. So pretty cool, hard to come by piece for Star Wars fans. You still have a few days to enter to win. While we're talking about housekeeping and giveaways, we also will have already announced the winners of a second giveaway we had going on this month, thanks to our friends. If you listened to the last episode of the show, which you should, all about 5 Points Fest and Toy Pizza Expo, we gave away 2 sets of weekend passes to 5 Points Fest. That is happening June 7th and 8th in New York, in Beacon, New York, at the Yard. So if you were not one of the 2 lucky winners of those sets of tickets, tickets are still available. You can go to 5pointsfest.com. Or again, just visit us at AIC_podcast on Instagram. We have all the info there, where you can get your tickets. And yeah, go back and listen to the last week's episode, because it's going to be a really fun show. There's lots of really cool artists there. We found out Oh,
I
what
was
were
gonna
you
say
gonna say?
we're I was gonna say we're hopefully gonna be there.
Yes. We found out after recording that our friends at the now home Safubi Wrestling Museum in New York City,
The
they will be there. So
Preservation Museum, I
yes,
believe is.
Preservation Museum. Yeah. So he will be there as well. So yeah, lots of really cool stuff happening. Uh, coming up. We were
Mhm.
entering in that busy season, that busy toy season where we got all the conventions. I mean, right now Licensing Expo will have just wrapped. Some pretty interesting stuff coming out of there, giving us kind of some first looks at some of the fun things that are happening in the world of licensing, which is very much so connected to the toy world. First look at
Yes.
the new Jason from the Friday 13th. Uh, yeah, it's lots of cool stuff happening. It's ramping up. It's ramping up. Um, but Dave, speaking of cool stuff, I went on a little trip, a little
You
journey.
did.
It was more than a little. So
Adventures in business tripping.
yeah, adventures and work. No, I'm very fortunate to have a very cool job in the world of cybersecurity, and my company has an office in Vietnam. So I had the opportunity, uh, roughly, I guess now 2 weeks ago, to
As of
go
airing, yeah.
as of airing, yeah. Uh, had a chance to go visit our office in Ho Chi Minh City or Saigon. You pick. I learned they're both two in one, and
Okay.
everyone there is they. Some people like to still call it Saigon, and some people like to call it Ho Chi Minh City. So, but yeah, I had a chance to go there, which was awesome. Vietnam was a lot of fun. If you have never been there, um, it's a great city. It is. How do I describe it? As somebody who's never really traveled internationally, um, Saigon is more alive than any city I think I've ever been to. It,
Okay.
it is sensory overload. Um, but in a good way. Like I don't mean that in like an imposing way. It's there's lots of competing um scents everywhere. You walk the street and you'll get like a city smell. Within a couple steps, all of a sudden you're smelling like fresh markets and food being cooked, and there are people everywhere. The hustle culture there is kind of unbelievable. Um, if there is space on the sidewalk, somebody will use it for something, whether that's
Okay.
cooking, whether that's selling something. Um, but yeah, just a really really cool city. If you have the opportunity to go, I highly recommend. They have a service there that's called Grab. It's kind of like Uber, but you have the option for Grab to grab a scooter or motorbike and hop on back with somebody that's
Hmm.
driving the scooter or motorbike. Experiencing the city that way is awesome because there are more scooters and motorbikes than there are cars. At least that's the way that it seems. Um, so being in a car with all of the people and motorbikes and scooters, like kind of like the way that I would imagine it would look like from an aerial view is like ants trying to navigate around like leaves, where it's just like you have a car that can only fit so much, but like you can scoot around on the motorbikes and scooters, and if there's space, they will be filled
Okay.
by somebody on a scooter. So I had the opportunity. One of my coworkers uses a scooter to get to and from work, so I hopped on back with him a couple times to, kind of navigate around the city and get to dinner and things, and it was a lot of fun. So, um, and I did have the opportunity to do a little bit of shopping while I was in Saigon, and of course, having the opportunity to see what toys and things are around. Um, I definitely took advantage of that opportunity a couple of evenings. Um, so a lot of the toy stuff that I found in some of like the local toy shops, and like a lot of the stores in Vietnam were combination like toy and bookstores or toy and stationery stores, um or like there were stores that were dedicated purely to blind box toys. um there was a lot of stuff to look at. uh the majority of it, I would say, is stuff that we could find over here, in the
Okay.
United States. Like, there wasn't really anything that was, like, super unique. One of the things that did jump out, and hang on, actually, I forgot to grab it, so I'm gonna grab it real quick.
5 hours later.
One of the things that I saw that was really cool was that the company, Blokies or Blockies, I don't know how it's pronounced, but they're gaining popularity here in the States with their Transformers, and they have like Minions, and they have Pokemon now, and Sesame Street, and they're little model kits. And the model
Mm.
kits come together and build an action figure, like I would say like 5-inch action figure. They had Infinity Saga ones out there, and these are, if you're not familiar with these, they're blind box, and they show you the kind of the assembly there. But there is a chase element to them, so each wave has a different set of characters, with one, being kind of the secret or chase.
Oh, so they're actual figures. They're like
Yeah, no, they're actual.
minifigs, or
Yeah, no, they're fully articulated.
okay.
Fully articulated figures. I haven't put one together yet, but for these, I've seen the Transformers ones, but I picked up. They had Series 3 and Series 2 of the Infinity Saga figures, so
All
I
right.
grabbed one of each series. Um, we'll see who we get out of these. Yeah, I got to open them at some point. But there's some really cool character selections. So like it's everyone from like Hulkbuster to Thanos to Ironmonger is even in this. It really does span like a good amount of the Infinity Saga, and I'm not sure what the deal is, why these are not available in the United States. I don't know if it's like a
Hmm.
distribution thing, but I'm a sucker for MCU stuff, so
Maybe licensing.
maybe could be. But I know a lot of people really rave about the Transformers ones, and now the Sesame Street and Pokemon ones. So I figured I would try these out.
Okay.
I have experience with some kind of a similar concept. The YOLO Park Transformers ones are really nice, and it's the same concept. They're snap together pre-painted model kits that make posable action figures. So I saw these in one store, so I picked up a couple. But the big find that I had in Vietnam, while I was there for the week, was at the Saigon Center Mall has a Pop Mart.
Mm.
So the Labubu craze
Yeah, I just learned about this.
is big deal here in the United States. These things are incredibly hard to come by. Pop marts are few and far between in the United States. I would imagine that there might be one or two like physical retail locations, you know, in the United States, but I have not seen anything outside of the vending machines, which I know that these Labubus are present in. Um, I had the opportunity to pick up a whole case of them. So the ones that I got were the have a seat variant of Labubu, and you can see the different options that you can get there, and then of course the secret rare variant. So preview to those listening and watching, this will be your June giveaway. So next month, this exact box, this exact Labubu sealed from the Have a Seat set, this will be our giveaway. So maybe that one of 72, maybe that's this guy right here.
Yeah,
Never know.
maybe that's you.
But yeah, this was also my first experience kind of seeing these in person. So of course being there, the currency conversion rate, as well as just kind of the general availability, I did buy an entire case of them. They made for wonderful souvenirs for my children, so I have one of theirs here just to kind of you know, experience the Labubu craze. I mean, they are really cute. You actually made a good point earlier that it kind of looks like the what did you say
Where the wild things are.
yeah, it's like where the wild things are meets Monchichi for those of a certain age that remember Monchichi. Um, they're super soft and they're dumb cute. Like
Hmm.
they are really cute. But the brand is actually the Monsters is the name of the brand, but they are a Pop Mart exclusive item. Um, and yeah, they were I wouldn't say readily available in Vietnam. I think I got lucky because I literally watched them sell out while I was wandering around the store looking at a bunch of other stuff. Pop
Mm.
Mart, really cool store by the way. Very like designer toy, blind box, art toy, vinyl toy type shop.
Okay.
They had a lot
I
of
was gonna ask, like, what do they have?
yeah, most of it was like either these plush Labubu, and they have like different sizes. So like they had like a large plush. Um, they had blind box little vinyl versions, like pre-posed vinyl figures. Lots and lots of those. Like the like
Mm.
4-inch pre-posed, like bigger than a mystery mini, but smaller than a Funko Pop blind box vinyl figures, but like across brands. They had Toy Story ones, they had Spider-Man, across the Spider-Verse ones, they had Star Wars ones, DC, just tons of different brands, and it looks like they had some of their own IP as well. So like the monsters, they have this little or this character. She looks like a little space cadet, um, but with like a almost like a Precious Moments doll style face,
Mm.
and that astronaut or space cadet is in like a just a ton of different colorways, including IP tie-ins. So like they had one that was in like a Joker colorway where
Okay.
her hair was green and her face was white, and those come in different size. They had ones that were like 14 inches tall, like these gorgeously painted giant, you know, astronaut girl
Neat.
statue things. Um, I picked up I actually don't know where I put it. I was looking for it before we started recording, but I picked up um a 3 3/4 inch Joker figure. Like it's just the Joker, but it's
Hmm.
packaged like an old style like Kenner 3 3/4 inch figure. And I think it's a just a pre-posed vinyl figure. Um,
Cool.
but yeah, just look neat. It's a cool store. It's a very cool store. It was very busy. There were lots of people outside with tons of these Labubus chained to their like bags and stuff, and it looked like they were trading them. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, each set is different. So there's like different colors. This one again, like is called Have a Seat. Its feet are pointed out, and you could see like it's in a sitting position. But yeah, there are different different kind of versions of it and everything. Um, but yeah, that was the big thing from Vietnam from the week that I was there. I don't want to say unfortunately. I mean, I was there for work, so
Hmm.
I didn't really have like a whole lot of time. I maybe had like 2 nights to go out and kind of on my own and shop and things. The one thing I will say about the Saigon Center, great mall, like very cool mall. Lots of the malls. There are the two malls that I went to there. There was another one called Vincom that did not have a Pop Mart. Had just
Mm.
kind of like other like random toy stores. Um, they're all like vertical, very vertical. So like when we think of malls in the United States, we think of maybe like 2 or 3 floors max, and like these kind of sprawling, you know, um, walking tours of things. The
Sure.
malls there are in high buildings with like low surface area. So it's like just floor after floor after floor after floor after floor after floor after floor of stores, but they're all like you could see from one end to the other. Like think
Okay.
like a very small footprint, but very high up in the air. So both malls were like that. Um, if you go to the Saigon Center at night, It is right next to the red light district. So walking to the Saigon Center for an American that has never traveled outside the country was an experience. Let me tell you, that was something. And I was there with a few other people that had not experienced that either. And I mean, it's just that's one of the fun things about the city, though, is like it's so multidimensional that there's uh these like few coffee shops that are chains like a Starbucks that you see pretty frequently. Um and it's like one of those was on a corner, and it's like your typical coffee shop, vibe. It's got some seating outside, it's got some seating inside. It's everything is like cleanly lit. It's very modern. And as you're sitting there, like drinking a coffee, looking across the street, it's like there are, like 6 bars in a row with, women standing outside of them because it's like, oh, I'm sitting in a coffee shop on a corner looking across the street at where the red light district starts. So it was just like it's like a wild, head fake wherever you go. And it's like that area, there are some stores in that district that are not part of that district. And it's like everyone observes the like boundaries of where that shop ends and where the next one begins. So it's like you could be walking and it'll just stop for like 30 feet and then it just starts again. It's
Okay.
it's very interesting. And walking around the city, obviously during the day versus at night, are two very different experiences. If you walk to the Saigon Center during the day, the red light district, the lights are off, so nobody is outside. But when the lights are on, just prepare yourself. It's an experience.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was kind of this was the big find from Vietnam was Labubu. And I'm excited that we're able to kind of share the love here and give one of these guys away. Actually, it still has the Pop Mart sticker on it. Yeah, so will be posted on our Instagram. So I mentioned it at the top, the @AIC_podcast. We'll post it. It'll be live for the whole month of June. You get a chance to win yourself a Labubu. You can follow the wise instructions of Mace Window, and you can have a seat.
I feel like that's going to be a popular one, huh?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Unless I have a completely wrong read on it, but it seems like these things are hard to come by. So, yeah. So look out for that in June. So after Vietnam, the way that my travel worked, so headed out to Vietnam, I flew from Newark, New Jersey. I sat on the tarmac for roughly 90 minutes before we took off, which was very Newark, New Jersey, if you're following what's going on at the airports.
But also, common in general sometimes.
Yeah. I flew through Tokyo, headed down. So I had 14 hour flight to Tokyo. And then from Tokyo to Vietnam. My layover in Tokyo at Narita Airport was not very long. It's 4 hours, but that's not like a long layover. That's not enough time to leave the airport, kind of. However, coming home, I had a 10.5 hour.
Well, what did you find anything in the airport?
In Narita there was the Akihabara store, which is kind of like the general like, hey, cool Japan shit store. So they had like it was just interesting to see like tons of SH figure arts out, and the Studio Ghibli stuff. Like, of course, they had tons of Godzilla stuff and Pokemon stuff. But again, like a lot of it was not anything that I hadn't seen before. You had the Bandai model kits for Pokemon, lots of plushies.
I hadn't seen that Kaneko Man figure arts that you.
Oh yeah. I hadn't seen it in person, but
yeah, I hadn't seen it in person.
Knew it was out. They had some of the new Dragon Ball Daima stuff for the SH figure arts. And the prices were all like, it was just interesting. Like they were like the Kaneko man was like under 100, and I think he goes for more than that. Here the SH figure arts, like the new Daima Goku was like $20, which is kind of crazy because that's like a, 30 $40 figure, I think.
Hmm.
Um, so the prices were good, and they were in the Akihabara shop in the airport is technically duty free, so you had that going for you too. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it was a good taste. So like coming through, I did pick up a couple things for the girls just in case, I saw things that I knew that they would like. So I was like, wow, I'll throw them in the bag now, and it's one less thing I have to worry about when I'm coming through the other way.
Hmm.
Plus, I didn't know the difference between the airports, like versus Narita versus Haneda. Of course, I looked at the fast food stuff. The McDonald's had some like special menu items, which we'll get to. The Starbucks had special menu items. Um, Again, like we kind of just kept moving through the airport. We didn't have a whole lot of time. We wanted to stretch. It had been a long flight, and we still had 7 hours to go in a plane, to go from Japan to Vietnam. However,
Hmm.
coming back, we had a 10.5 hour layover in Haneda Airport. So the two major airports in Tokyo are Narita and Haneda. Haneda is closer to like Tokyo city center. Tokyo is massive. Like it is the one thing I've learned from this trip is like Asia is just so big. Like the things like
Yeah, it's a large continent.
but like just the scope of things like even in Vietnam like the everything is just sprawling there. And like the density of everything is just so much more than what even like I think a lot of people would consider like the area that we live in New Jersey to be pretty densely populated. It
Hmm.
doesn't even remotely compare. Like New York City versus, Saigon, it's just the population density feels so much more dense there. Um,
Yeah,
and like
that's what I've heard. That's what you normally kind of
and and like when we got to
hear.
Tokyo, so when we got to Haneda, we actually arrived a half hour earlier, so we had like a full 11 hours uh
Okay.
layover, which meant realistically, leaving time on both sides to go through customs and security and all that. We had like 5-ish hours to go around
Give
and
yourself 2 hours on each side.
2 hours on each side plus commuting time because you still have to take an Uber, which by the way really cool. Uber, if you're visiting Tokyo, your Uber app works, so you could just use your regular Uber app there. You don't need like a special
Same
cab app.
same in London and Paris.
Yeah. So it did not work in Vietnam, but it does work in Japan. Um which really helps with translation and addresses and stuff like that. There is a ton of English in Japan where there's like hardly any in Vietnam. Um so like street signs, train signs, signs all over the airport. Um there was English. Um Not necessarily like English words, but Japanese words in English, if that makes sense. So like if you were looking at a street sign and it was like um Ikebukuro district or Shibuya district, like you could read it. Even if
Hmm.
you may not have been able to like understand what it said, you could at least phonetically read it. Um which made giving addresses and things like that much easier. So we had a plan. I was traveling with two other people at this point. It was my boss and one of our coworkers. Um, One of the things that we had to see for our kids and our friends and stuff was a Pokemon Center. That was like a big must.
Fair.
My boss and his son are very much so into Pokemon cards and Pokemon in general. So that was like number one.
And did they
And
have stuff there?
oh my god, so
I mean, obviously they had stuff, but like,
dude, so the Pokemon Center is I don't know. I was trying to think of an example of another brand that has like a store like this, and the only other thing I can think of is maybe Nintendo, but like the Nintendo store like pales in comparison to this. Like this is imagine like to put it in reference to somebody who's not into the world of Pokemon or like not really like I know everyone's aware of Pokemon. I don't want to, make people sound like
Mhm.
idiots, but like, it would be like imagine if GI Joe like owned stores. Like Hasbro put GI Joe stores. Like they weren't like it wasn't like a licensed thing or like a franchised thing that like somebody could buy into a GI Joe store.
Right.
Imagine if they put like GI Joe Cobra places in malls where you could buy GI Joe figures and merchandise and
Mhm.
apparel and home goods. Like the Pokemon Center is unbelievable in the
So it's
sense
like
of
going to like a team store at a sporting event.
kind of, yeah, yeah. Like they had everything there. And taking a step back, so we went to it was called the Pokemon Center Ikebukuro um in Sunshine City. So Sunshine City is like a mall, and it's like a mall the way that we think of a mall. That was set up like a pretty much like a 3-floor mall,
Okay.
sprawling shopping mall. Um, but with primarily Japanese like retailers. Um, so they had the Pokemon Center there. They had which I didn't really look too deeply into it. I was like, "Oh, it's Pokemon Center. There's got to be other stuff around." I didn't really understand the way because of the way that it was listed that it was in a mall. But like the Pokemon Center, they had the Studio Ghibli store. They
Hmm.
had the largest Bandai Cross store. Um,
So
they had a One Piece store, like an entire store dedicated to One Piece.
hmm.
They had the Pikachu Cafe. They had a Marvel store. Trying to think if there was anything else. They had a Shin-Chan crayon store. They had like a World of Snoopy store that was just all not even just peanut stuff. It was Snoopy stuff.
Just straight up Snoopy.
Snoopy. Um, they had a Toys R Us in there. Um, I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I think that's pretty much it. At least that's where we stayed. It was much bigger than we realized. Like we kind of stuck into one area and then realized at like the very end when we were looking for an ATM, um, that there was like a whole like second and third section of it, and we were like, we just don't have time for this at this point. So,
Was that and that was the place that we talked about briefly last week?
no, that I think that was Nakano. That's the next stop.
Okay.
So, this place,
That Jesse was talking about?
yeah, we'll get there. That was second stop.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom and pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at chubsywubsy.com. That's CHUBZZYWUBZZY.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
And now, back to the show.
So we started. We got to the mall before it opened, but the mall is connected to like a corporate building. So the malls in this mall had no music playing. It had like bird noises and like nature sounds playing throughout the whole mall. So like everyone that was like walking through it had this like nature kind of vibe to it.
All
Um,
right.
the lights were dimmed. The bathrooms even had the music playing in it. And by the way, Japanese bathrooms, best bathroom I have ever been in my life. It is like it to be crude, it's like shitting in the future. The toilet seats are warmed. it has like a controllable, like digitally controllable bidet that you can change like temperature, intensity, location. It's got a blow dryer for your butt.
Yeah, I need
Um,
that.
it, they absolutely unbelievable, and the the atmosphere of Japan, everything is about like respect that I bumped into. Like everything is about respect. So like the first bathroom I went into had this like sliding door. I guess it was um like a special bathroom. So like it had a place to like lay down for a minute if you needed to. It
Mm.
had like seats for kids. It had kid-sized toilets. It has bars near like the toilets and urinals in case like you need help. Like you can't like get down or get up or
Oh,
you
that's
know
fantastic.
like stuff and there's like a sign that actually says like we make bathrooms here for everyone and it shows like the elderly and children and like it is accommodation to the max and it was lovely, it was lovely. um so we get there, we had to use the bathroom, so we found this amazing bathroom experience which was just incredible, but like that was everywhere, so it was even at the airports. Everywhere you go, bathrooms are amazing. We were hungry, so we stopped at McDonald's. Just people I was traveling with wanted
Not a 7-Eleven.
wanted something quick. There was no I didn't see a 7-Eleven in this mall. There might have been in the other section, but
Because I yeah, that's what you hear is like the gold standard for quick food is 7-Eleven.
I did go to 7-Eleven in Vietnam. I was not like super impressed. They had some really fun snacks, but like it just kind of seemed like a exotic version of 7-Eleven to me. Like there was nothing in there that I was like, "Oh, I got to try that."
Because like Japan, supposedly you get the like egg and milk bread sandwich, and
Yes, yeah, I've heard. I did not come across one during my very brief few hours there. But we did stop at McDonald's and I did get on the breakfast menu they had this like fried chicken sandwich
okay,
that completely blew my doors off. It's a tie-in for an anime film that's coming out. Detective Conan, I think is the name of it. Looks like a
okay,
little kid detective. I've not heard of this. I didn't know what it
not
was,
familiar. Yeah,
but for some reason there was a Detective Conan chicken sandwich. Um, the bun was like a Hawaiian style almost bun.
like a sweet roll,
Yeah, the chicken patty was basically like a giant McNugget. Like, I mean, like giant McNugget.
not like
Um,
the
no, it wasn't like
McChicken patty.
no, it was not a
Okay.
McChicken patty. It was like a massive McNugget, but it was like a teriyaki McNugget,
Oh,
and it had this like spicy mayo and this like shredded lettuce, and it was not what I would think of as something I would eat for breakfast, but I would eat it again. I'd mess with that sandwich, you know, 7 days a week, twice on Sunday.
right
It
on.
was delicious. That was the other thing too, an American version of breakfast, like yeah, we have savory stuff, but like the sweet stuff is kind of the thing we're known for, the pancakes, the waffles,
Hmm.
you know, um a lot of the breakfasts in well, I mean all of the breakfast in Vietnam, like I had pho and like shumai and wonton or not wontons, dumplings and like savory food for breakfast every morning. Like that's what was
Hmm.
offered in the hotel as like the breakfast option. And at first I was like, my first day, I went into the office and I was like, our hotels like must be really like indexing towards like visiting because I was in the tourist area, like, giving us like dinner for breakfast. And they all laughed and they were like, no, no, no. Pho is a breakfast food. I was like, oh, and they were like, "It's also a lunch food. It's also a dinner food. In fact, breakfast is just another meal, so you can really eat whatever you want for breakfast." And I was like, "Oh, okay then." Um, but yeah, so I had this chicken sandwich in Tokyo that was arguably the best chicken sandwich I've ever had at a McDonald's.
All right.
And then all of a sudden,
I mean, you had me at Big McNugget, so
we go up to the Pokemon Center and they have this amazing little like fake courtyard in front of the Pokemon Center with all of these life-size statues of Pokemon and like foliage and trees, and the outside is all is all decorated. And then I noticed people started lining up. It was getting close to when the store was opening, so we hopped online. All of the bird and tree and insect noises came to like an actual end. It didn't just fade out. Like there was like an end of the track play. So like whatever they were looping had like a tail end on the loop with like a little jingle, and then the lights got a little bit brighter, and like almost like a wake up jingle played, and the
Huh.
mall woke up. Like the actual like it was like somebody turned on the mall. Like all the doors started opening, the like mall music started playing. We could hear the Pokemon theme playing from inside of the Pokemon Center. It was like a cheery little fun like wake up moment, which was really nice. But the Pokemon Center was unbelievable. They had um obviously cards, all the Japanese releases. Some stuff was already out of stock by the time I got to it. They have
Okay.
like daily purchase limits on some of the different like sets. So I got a couple for the girls. Um, yeah, I mean that part was cool. I did get a chance to. You're aware of like that like they use pretty heavily favor like a lottery system in are you familiar with this like this Ichiban lottery thing?
Yes,
Okay.
from Justin and Dave have told us about that.
So I did the one in the Pokemon store or the Pokemon Center. And I got
Right?
a
Don't they do that for Bandai as well?
yeah, it's they do it for all of yeah, I guess like throughout the stores. Like I noticed it
Hmm.
everywhere. In the Calico Critters store as well. There was an entire store for Calico Critters. Shouts to Frank. Frank, I thought of Frank as soon as I walked in. But yeah, so I did the lottery thing, which was fun. I ended up getting like a Gengar hand towel.
Oh, cool.
I got the lowest tier of the lottery. But still I got a chance to play in one. And I did pick up myself something. So in the Pokemon Center, they had my favorite Pokemon, Chansey, and it was this Pokemon Fit. So I don't really think of Chansey as being the most fit Pokemon, but yeah, Chansey with her egg. I'd never in my life seen a Chansey plush before, so took the opportunity and grabbed that.
I know
Um,
Chansey from Smash Brothers.
there you go. Yeah. Uh, so yeah, so I picked up a Chansey for myself. Um, tons and tons and tons of plush. Like I would say the store is like 70% plush, to the point where they even have like little, like if you've ever seen somebody carry like a small pet or animal in like one of those carrying cases, you could buy
Sure.
a carrying case for your plush. Um,
Like Callie's Ekron.
yes, yes. Becca, you mean like Becca. Yeah, they had carrying cases. They were advertising this new thing. It was like for life-size plushes of Pokemon.
Hmm.
They're doing the evolutions first.
Okay.
So you can get a life-size Eevee or one of the Kanto uh evolutions for your home. They had them advertised really nice as like just like an Eevee sitting next to like a coffee table. It was actually very cute. So yeah, so that was Pokemon Center. The Studio Ghibli store absolutely blew my doors off. It's like sectioned off into different, parts of that universe. So like there's a whole Totoro section.
Like
They
the
act
different movies.
Yeah, they actually had these Totoro. I guess they're finger puppets. I think they're just meant to be what's the term? Like blow mold pucks, like action figures. They
Hmm.
actually sell the house from My Neighbor Totoro, and like you can buy the house playset and have the characters in it, but they don't make the girls. They just make Totoro and the other like woodland creatures. Same goes for No Face, and like you could see like too like the bottom half is slightly translucent,
Mm.
so like there's a little bit of a gradient in it. Like they're little like almost like the little people, like the Fisher Price little
That's what
people,
I
but
was gonna say. Are they like?
that's what they feel like to me. But they're Totoro characters, so I bought
Oh,
a
very cool.
crap ton of these, or not just Totoro characters, Ghibli characters. So they had Kiki, they had a bunch of characters from Spirited Away. Um, So bought a couple of those. Again, like tons of plush and home good, lots and lots of home goods and wearables, like socks and t-shirts. And um the Ghibli store had these really cool like built-in areas. So they had like calcifer in like on the fireplace, and like it was actually like on, and like I'm just sitting
That's
there thinking
cool.
of Billy Crystal. um but like like a not a life-size Totoro, but a pretty close to life-size Totoro in the store. Just again, like super cool theming throughout. And the Bandai store, I mean, it, it it was unbelievable. Like it was almost like an entire convention space.
And you went to the cross store, you
Yeah,
said.
yeah, Bandai Cross Store in Sunshine City. It was almost like going to like a Bandai convention.
Mm.
It was unbelievably massive, and they have there the world's largest um gashapon area. So like
Okay.
there are more there than anywhere else in the world, and it was like going to like a gashapon like factory. Like I don't even think I walked to the end of where like the gashapon pods ended.
Did you get one?
So this was the problem. Um, there's gashapon everywhere. Like I mean, Dave, it is you sneeze and there's gashapon somewhere. Like
So
I
it's
mean, throughout everywhere I went in Tokyo, everywhere.
it's like the with the frequency of finding the toy machines at like ShopRite.
Even more so. Like there are stores that don't look like they should have them in there, and it's like, oh, they have 2 rows of gashapon. Um, so I was paying with my, American credit cards pretty much
Hmm.
everywhere I went on the trip. Everywhere takes, a Visa or, a MasterCard.
Yeah, it's funny how that's changed.
You can't exchange credit card for Gashapon tokens anywhere I went.
Mm.
And ATMs are a little harder to come by, at least where I was. So by the time I found an ATM, I knew I kind of had a gut feeling that the next stop we went to, I was going to need cash. So I found an ATM, but then I used the cash on things that like I needed to use the cash on
Sure.
at the next stop. But yeah, unfortunately I did not get to play any Gashpon machines. But there were a ton. There were a
Did you get to play any of the video games at the cross store?
We looked at them. We walked through that whole arcade section. We just kind of did like a quick like walking tour. Again, I was with other people,
Hmm.
and I didn't want to max them out on our first stop, knowing that we were going to Nakano Broadway next. So we just kind of walked around, looked at things, you know, took a little peek at everything that was going on in there. The entire Tamashi area, the entire bath bomb area. They had an entire like almost museum for Kamen Rider and Super Sentai. So they had like
Okay.
actual props from the show.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was like a history of Super Sentai. And I was explaining to the people I was with, I was like, this is Power Rangers. But yeah, so really, really cool. Stores there were awesome. The Pikachu Cafe that was connected to the Pokemon Center was a lot of fun. Um, yeah, they had a whole Pokemon Go area too, where you could like meet
Oh,
up with
cool.
people and have battles, and yeah, it was very, very, very cool. So we left there, and against Jesse's best advice, and I understand now fully why he gave the advice he gave. Nakano Broadway is one of the most deceptively complicated and complex system of stores I have ever personally witnessed, and at the same time also one of the coolest things. Um, not like we would think a shopping mall, more that like we would probably describe as like a bazaar or a
It looked like a flea
flea
market.
market, an indoor slash outdoor flea market. Nakano Broadway is just
Like it reminded me of like the indoor flea markets in like in mall rats
it
when they
is
go to the.
deceptively catacomb like. There is
Okay.
just like you just keep finding things. And thankfully, I was able to find what's called like the Mandarake area, which is where all of the toy stuff is. And this was vintage. They did have some new stuff, but like vintage everything from like they had Mandarake has vintage movie posters. They have vintage, and I mean like
That's
full on
cool.
Japanese like one sheets, like OG, like kaiju and Godzilla stuff, horror stuff, video games, like region specific video games, toys, Safubi, um, uh, uh, cards, trading cards, sports memorabilia, dude, like unbelievable, and everything from like stores that looked like they were like smashed together, like hard to walk through antique style stores, like antique, like little shop of hoarders type of things,
Hmm.
to like highly curated, like one of a kind Sofubi art piece type stores where like the owners don't even want you taking pictures. Like I had like a couple times like I was like stopped when I walked in taking video. Um, and I explained like, oh, podcast, I'm just taking pictures, like doing a little travel vlog. Some of them were like, oh, okay, no problem, go ahead. And other ones were like, I don't care. Don't take pictures. Um, so I had a mission in Nakano Broadway, and that was I wanted to buy Godzilla Sofubi.
Hmm.
That was like my one goal. I said it to the people I was with. I was like, gotta find it. That's like the thing I want to do. So in my
So
journey,
this was your request.
yeah, so Nakano Broadway was my Pokemon Center was the other two. Nakano Broadway was mine. And my boss loved Nakano Broadway. At this point, our other travel partner, he had to change his flight because he was worried about coming into Newark with all the issues that were happening because he had a domestic connecting flight in out of
Mm.
Newark to Maine. So he actually ended up changing his flight to go out of Washington, D.C. So he had to peel off and leave early. So at this point, it's just my boss and I. And we kind of split up because he was looking more at like the card stuff, more of the sports memorabilia stuff. And this is where the first part of this is going to come in. So I'm walking down, this one part of it, and I just see a wall of Japanese wrestling masks in a glass case. Tiger mask, Jushin Thunder Liger,
Yeah, it
like
was a cool looking photo.
unbelievable. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I walk in, and as I walk in, turn directly to my left, it is a floor to ceiling wall of Kinnikuman muscle figures, Keshis, just
Hmm.
Keshi upon Keshi. And I'm like, oh my God. And like some of them were like mad expensive. So then I walk in and I said hi. It was very clearly a wrestling store. Which is when I turn to the case to the right of me, and you get to open the bag now.
And I'll just reach in the bag.
Yeah, just there's two things in the bag.
Okay.
So I couldn't leave this store without getting
There are in
something for
fact
you.
two things in here.
And one of
Which one should I pull out?
Doesn't
first?
matter.
There's like a smaller thing and a larger thing.
Doesn't matter.
All right, I'm going larger thing. Oh, that's cool.
So they had this awesome Safubi vinyl fig of Jushin Thunder Liger. So I thought that was really cool.
That is really cool.
Thought it would speak to you.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in this case of just like wall to wall wrestling stuff.
I'm not going to take them out of the bag now, but
yeah. So Jushin Thunder Liger, little
very
like,
cool,
little like chibi vinyl guy, and then the other one. This was something that I had never actually seen these in person, so it was really exciting to see like a case full of them. And I just picked one because I figured if you were gonna have one, this would kind of like be the guy to have. But
is that a Noki?
It is a Noki. It is Antonio Noki. It is a what I believe is a Char Pro.
It doesn't say on his feet, but that's cool.
And he's got the belt.
Yeah.
But I have no real experience with these. I mean, I recognized some of the guys, but
his arms move.
he was like front and center, and he looked like he was in great shape. They also
Yeah.
had an Inoki that was in like a suit, like he was in like a suit.
Oh, and he's doing
Yelling.
the lariat
Yeah,
or yelling. Yeah,
and he's yelling. Um,
that's a famous figure. Like it just you
Yeah.
see that figure. People are like, oh, that's a.
so they had a whole case of them. It was cool just to see like literally an entire loose case of them. Of course, as I'm going through my video footage, editing on the plane, leaving, I realized that there was an NWO Muda just in the center there, and I was like, oh,
I saw that.
that's the one I should have gotten. But
I think we know somebody who has that.
I missed that in my initial just kind of like
Who-
shock of the store, like
Who
walking
is
through.
appearing at 5 Points
Yeah.
Festival?
Walking through that store was just unbelievable. Like, and the dudes there were so nice. And then the other half of the store was all Kaneka Man. And I mean,
Okay.
more than just the Keshis. Like they had like these giant like 12-inch Sofubi figures. They had like some of the Bandai stuff from, I believe, like the early 90s.
And I know the Kaniku Man, like the original, like when I had Muscle,
Yeah.
I think there are more Kaniku Man than Muscle,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Yep. So they had a ton of that stuff in there. They even had some like, it was funny just to see like a bin of like old basics, like old like elite like Mattel basics.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was cool, like an entire wrestling store. And
That's cool.
it's like one of those things where, from my understanding of it, is like it's just part of this Mandrake system, and like if you know, you know, sort of thing. Like there was, looking it up even afterwards, I was like, wrestling figures in this, and it didn't come up like on Google Maps. It just Mandrake toys. So we're wandering around. We continue wandering, and
Yeah, I told Christina we're gonna, if for when we ever go to Japan, I'm gonna need to bring like an extra suitcase
that's what I did. That's what I did,
for wrestling figures.
and I'm glad I did. So the first thing that jumped out at me, I gave myself a budget. So I gave myself 200 USD was what I was going to spend on Sofubi for myself, and I actually spent under that. I found two pieces that jumped out at me. I absolutely loved. The first one is this amazing Hedora.
That rules.
You know, just I love the colorway. It's the green and pink. I'm not even super familiar with the maker on this. What's cool is it has this like plug in the bottom. I almost wonder if it was like filled with candy or something, which is very possible.
Or was it bank maybe?
I don't know. There's no slot in it, but the date on it is it says Marit, MARIT 2003.
Okay.
So you know, not super old, but I love it. Just crazy colorway. It
That's great.
Has that awesome like Sofubi feel to it. So that was in one store. No Godzilla though. They didn't have any good looking Godzilla. Then I walk into this one store that was like clearly like just kaiju mart. Like half of it was Ultraman and all the Ultraman kaiju, and then the other half was just Godzilla.
Cool.
And they had everything from like super expensive, like, oh my god, I was like itchy as anything, like vintage Sofubi stuff, to like modern day SH Monster Arts. But somewhere in the middle, they had this guy. This absolutely stunning,
that's cool,
blue and gold, slightly translucent,
like it almost looks like glass,
Sofubi Godzilla. This is by the wonderful folks, and I did know this company going in. This is by Gigabrain. They make Sofubi Godzilla figures, and it's fantastic. It's roughly around as old as that Hedora, so it's like, you know, the early 2000s, I think.
So 20 years old. Roughly?
Yeah, I think this one is from that run. I don't know if the date is stamped on this. No, just Gigabrain. But they make these they had a few different colorways. They had like a red one, they had an orange one, but this blue and gold one just really like sung. And they have different like molds of Godzilla too. So like, you know, this is 3-toe Godzilla, so I think this is 54. I don't know what the stamp is for the actual like Toho stamp on it. I can't really see. Oh, there we go.
But it's early Godzilla.
Yeah. But I just loved it, and it like checked the box for me.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It was within my price range, like comfortably within my price range. It's a great size. Um, and it's just glimmers. Like it's just perfect. This I was too afraid to put in my luggage. Hedora went right into like I wrapped him in some clothes and just put him into my checked bag, or my carry-on, I should say. Um, and he traveled fine, but I was worried about putting him. So he became my personal item in the little like black shopping bag. He just stayed with me for the rest of the trip.
Nice.
But yeah, so this was mission accomplished on all accounts.
Very cool.
All parties got what they wanted from the trip, and then of course we left. So at that point we got back in an Uber, went back to the airport, had realized that we had forgotten to eat lunch, and figured, hey, we're still in Tokyo. The airport sushi's got to be better than like we actually made a joke. We were like, the airport sushi here is probably better than most sushi you can get at a restaurant. Um, we were absolutely correct in that regard. The sushi we got was just out of this world. Um, and then started our journey back home. So
I would have looked for some airport omurice.
yeah, I mean, there weren't many food options. There was like a little tiny food court in our terminal that we had access to. That was basically like it was like soba, ramen, udon, like Japanese barbecue, and then sushi. And we were like, let's just do the sushi. And I'm glad we did. It was fantastic. But Japan, it's somewhere that I have wanted to visit since I was very small.
Yeah.
And I got a taste in the 5 or so hours that I explored. And I think it's kind of funny. I was talking to some people that are not in our little toy circle that were like, you had 5 hours in Japan and you went to 2 shopping malls. Like, it's pretty sad. And I was like, yeah, if you look at it that way.
Or it's not. And
Cause like, like, yeah, I could have gone, I was right near like the, in the district or prefecture that I was in. I was right near some like very historic stuff. Like I could have gone to like an imperial like castle basically.
Mhm.
Um, I saw it. Like I looked at it as our Uber drove past it on the way to the mall. But I mean, it's just one of those things where culture is
Mhm.
you know what you appreciate. And it's not that I don't appreciate that stuff. I love history, and if I had more time there, I definitely would have carved out time to do something like that. But I figured being laser focused on achieving something was a more efficient way to experience Tokyo in the short time that I had, and I wouldn't change anything for the world. It was a fun experience. I did it with some pretty cool people, and I have an unforgettable memory. I have a core memory formed.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not like you had time to go to like experience the arts or like go to a sumo match or
Yeah, and like maybe we could have gotten if the timing wouldn't have even worked. Like it was a Friday morning. Like we got in at like 7 o'clock in the morning Japan time. Like it's not even like we could have gone to like a baseball game.
Mhm.
Like we had enough time to do that, but we were there at the time we were there at, and that's
Yeah, it's not like we have time to go to like Tokyo Disneyland,
yeah,
even like
yeah. So I mean, it was great. I got to see Mount Fuji from the plane. That was
nice.
cool. Um, yeah, but all in all, like I would like now that I've been there and I've seen experienced a little bit of it. Now I know for sure that like I want to go back. I want to have like a full vacation there. Like
Oh, I'd love to.
I want to spend a full week. I want to see like Japanese nature stuff, go see like an onsen,
Hmm.
um
I told Christine, I
yeah.
was like, there will be, when we go, there will be like at least a wrestling, like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would love to go back, and I would love to experience more of it. If you're listening and watching this, and you're either from Japan or you've visited and you have experience, we'd love to have your hit lists.
Mhm.
Where should
Yeah.
we go? When we eventually get back there.
There are the things, and we've mentioned them all, that are like things, one or both of us would want to do. Like, I'd want to go to a baseball game. Like, I'd want to go to,
Yeah,
a wrestling card. I'd want to go to, Totocon.
yeah. I mean, I'd love to see a what do you call it? With the masks. The stage plays.
Like the
Kabuki
theater.
Kabuki theater. Yeah, like I'd love to see stuff like that. Um, yeah, but in like I said, in the short time that I was there, it was awesome. We had a great time. Um, and I didn't break the bank either, which was awesome. Uh, but yeah, so now I'm back. And I'm missing it. I really am. The jet lag really sucks. I was
Mm.
there long enough, like I was in Asia long enough to like switch my body clock, and now being back, it's challenging.
Yeah, it was the same for me in London and Paris. Like, it was.
Being 12 hours different, 11 hours different, 12 hours different, is really hard on the body.
I think Europe is 8.
Especially for a short period of time. It gives me enough time to kind of acclimate, and then I'll immediately have to switch back. Um,
I
landing, like flying home, like I left at like 5:30 p.m. Japan time, and I landed like 5:30 p.m. the same day, American time,
Mhm.
Eastern time, and it was just it was brutal. Like I stayed up as long as I could, tried to sleep, but like midway through the night, my body was like, "Hey, it's time to get up," and I was up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. It was just, it was bad, and I've only now, like a few days on, have like recovered.
Yeah, it was funny. Like, I remember being gung ho about, like, oh, I'm gonna last. This was last year. Like, oh, I'm gonna watch. Make sure I'm up for like the playoffs or anything. As it turned out, I looked and it was not on. So I was like, oh, okay, this isn't gonna matter then. And the games were at like 3 in the morning.
Dude, the craziest thing, one of the craziest things was the one morning I woke up. It was Sunday morning Vietnam time. I woke up and threw my VPN on and logged into Netflix and watched the end of Backlash at like
Mm.
7 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, oh, this is bizarre for anybody that's from this area that watches professional wrestling. Like the PLEs are on in the morning. Like it's crazy. Like, and you would have had to wake up. Like I watched like the last two matches and it was 7 a.m. So like if you wanted to watch that live, you're getting
Well,
up
that's
at
like,
like 4 o'clock in the morning.
so imagine, like, okay, me watching Wrestle Kingdom when it comes on January 5th, and it's on, I think, at like 2 in the morning.
Yeah, it's it's just crazy how that stuff works. Um, thinking about like the global clock, right? Uh, but yeah, so that was my in a
Or no, it's
nutshell.
probably on. I forget when it airs, but it's like at
Well, I
an
mean,
un.
if it's on in the afternoon, I think Japan is 2 hours closer our time from where I was in Vietnam, so
Mhm,
10 hours different figure. So if it starts in the afternoon, it's
mhm.
the early morning, like really early morning.
Yeah.
This was the farthest I'd ever been away from home, longest I've ever been away from my kids. So it was very interesting, like the FaceTiming and like the talking to them, and basically being on complete opposites. Like they were getting ready to go to bed, and I was eating breakfast, and
Mhm.
vice versa. So it's good to be back. We've got a lot of cool things to look forward to. We've got some fun guests lined up for some future episodes. But I think that about covers it for this Japan trip. So 10 out of 10. Get thee to Tokyo. You should go visit. You should go visit Tokyo. And Dave, I hope you like your little taste of your little surprise tastes of Tokyo.
I love them. They're excellent.
Enjoy them in good health, my brother. With that, Dave, I'm actually going to send us home this week. Arigato. Sayonara.
Thank you, dear listener, for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azari, the golden voice behind our intro. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies. Find more about them both in our show notes.
Follow us on social media at AIC_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Stop by and say hi, show us your toy hauls, and share your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer, Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.